Okay, in today's video, we're going to take this piece of crap island and take it to this. Ta-da! So this video is going to be a little bit different because the whole process took me around 6 hours, and it was spent mostly with resource gathering and visiting the neighbors and really just trying to come up with an idea for the base. So this is the first of many or the first of one voiceover video. To get started with the project, we of course have to go diving because that is the best place to get resources. So we took off underwater and went and got a bunch of resources. And I'm immediately out of stamina. The next thing I decided to do was make the fishing rod because I am constantly running out of food. But I forgot the bait. I then got distracted and spent the next 10 or 20 minutes organizing my chests, where organization is a big problem to have in the start of a game. The next thing I had to do was reorganize my storage because the wooden chests just weren't cutting it. And I realized the metal barrel are the cheapest and they hold the most. So we went with metal barrels for the storage going forward.
No. Wait.
I was finally done sorting all my stuff, and then I realized I didn't have enough food, and I died. Oh, fuck. As I'm always out of food, I decided to give fishing a try, and let me tell you, it's not as easy as it looks. But after a couple failed attempts, we finally mastered it, and now I'm a pro fisherman. I went on to catch 4 or 5 fish, and then I completely invaded a crab space. Get over here.
FBI, open up!
I felt now that with our newfound skill, we stock up on fish and never go hungry again. Like that's gonna work. And on the Barbie they go. Unfortunately, I didn't find out about the planter box until later. So I ended up destroying a lot of resources. After chopping some trees down, I was finally ready to start. Now this process actually took me about an hour to figure out where to place the first foundation. Something that confused me and the game doesn't have is there's no option to raise the height of the first foundation, which I find in games gives you a lot more option as to where to build. This one didn't have it. So I decided to just place it by the water. Which I didn't like, so I destroyed it. Can't find the perfect base without trial and error, and I did a lot of trial. Why is this tent in the way, and why can you not destroy it? After long and hard,
That's what she said.
processing, I finally figured out where to put my foundation. And we're off to the races. Again, trying to figure out why there's no button to raise the height of a foundation. And then I realized, you know what? I need some supports. So I placed my supports down and got stuck again. But then I realized you need floor instead of wooden foundation. And you can always remember to check your work after you're done and really admire the progress. Day 14 was complete, on to day 15. I started by chopping down the trees and collecting a bunch of wood on my own land, which is very important when you need resources. Remember to check your own land. Now that I had enough wood, it was time to get back to work. And the ideas were flowing. First, I had to settle down my whole foundation so that I can continue building the rest of the base. I do like that there is no clipping and there's no collision, so you can kind of just build your foundations wherever you want. It makes it easy to build wherever you want. Once I was finally done putting the last piece on the bottom foundation, I was able to place my supports and build my second floor. Which again, I'm really impressed with, that you can... Wait. But of course, I had forgot to check my food.
Are you serious?
Oh, I died again. Of hunger, again. I never watch my food bar. It's insane, man. So I quickly revived and got right back to building the third floor before my ideas just kind of vanished. Now my main idea was to build a nice little balcony, but unfortunately you can't build a balcony because the shortest walls are over your eyesight. So I went back to building the rest of the third floor and forgot about that idea. I saved you guys the headache of having to watch me spend literal 15-minute intervals trying to figure out where to place everything, and I just decided to cut everything all together so you could see how I placed everything.
No.
But believe me, there was a lot of processing and thinking that went into this. And of course, a lot of resource collecting. And without the proper upgrades, my stamina is always lacking, which makes it impossible to collect resources quickly. I then decided, you know what, it's probably a good idea to go marlin or swordfish, we never really decided, hunting. And it took me probably 10 minutes just to chase the sucker down. When I got back, I decided to place some planters because I was in dire need of a tree farm. So first I gotta set up the foundation, and then run out of water, and then run out of wood again, so going back to resource collect. But that was on to day 15. Day 16, started off with a snack, got some water, and got to work, collecting more resources. This time I decided to visit my neighbors who were not happy to see me and did not want to share any of their resources. I looted their whole island, and I went back to the base to continue building. And I found a crab, which I love crab. It was then time to say goodbye to our first ever foundations placed. And then I began building my tree farm, which this is sped up to like 5,000. It takes a while to figure out how to place the planter boxes. I then ran out of resources again, so I went to go see my next door neighbors who were really excited to see me and came and tried to give me a nice big hug. I took care of them quickly, looted the whole island, and went back to the base.
So good and tasty?
Whoops. I did, however, get the boat stuck, and I had to push it out from beside a rock. But we were back and ready to continue the tree farm, which again takes about 10 minutes just to place it properly. And after further inspection, to my disappointment, I realized it wasn't even straight.
What?
And that just wouldn't do. My OCD was driving me nuts. That'll have to be fixed later. I realized the proper way to actually set up the planter boxes was to go against the floor. Then I decided to place a small wall to use as a guideline. Now we're making some real progress. I decided it's time to move my bed inside the base. Or on top of the base, because the third floor still isn't even started. And then move all the other furniture, like the research table. Again, not realizing there was such thing as a planter box, I had destroyed the research table and then didn't have enough resources to build it. I went and got the resources, and now I have them. And that was the end of day 16. Day 17, I decided to research some armor, as we would need that for some of our battles, and some of the defensive traps. Oh, doo-doo. The resource collection in this game is tough. And I'm trying to make a base out of all wood, which is actually a bad idea, because the game wants you to upgrade to a metal base afterwards anyways. So it's kind of pointless to be doing this, to be honest. Because I want a base. You can upgrade later. After ranting to myself, I decided to get rid of my air filling station. Again, no packing box, so just wasting resources. And take one more look at the work that has been done. I felt I was getting a little bit claustrophobic, so I decided to add more floors to the bottom floor, and then we were ready to add the walls. Another game flaw. This really stumped me, but I realized later on that it's because I needed to add a foundation to the other foundation to be able to make it work. I then built a door, tested my door, and got to work on my tree farm. Which, of course, I didn't want that way, so I removed everything, again without a planter box, so I wasted resources and had to go diving and visit the locals. They were not happy to see me. Can't forget this iron right on our base. Finally, I went back to healing my OCD and removing the planter boxes. Again, no packing box, so wasting a ton of resources. And it was finally time to get rid of our first chest and our grill. Everything needs to go inside the house. I realized that this might be the perfect place to cook some burgers. And I took a final look again at my work. Finding the perfect place to place these things are just as annoying as losing all the resources by not using the packing box. I then decided to go for the more modern feel and do a glass wall situation. Couldn't even get a drink of water because once again, out of wood. And that was the end of day 17. Day 18, I was surprised with a guest. What? No matter how I tried, he would not leave. Well, that's rude. Get it? Leave? 'Cause he's a tree? I seriously tried for about 20 minutes to get rid of this tree and he would just not budge. So I said, you know what? You live here now. I had a strange thought that maybe my foundation was blocking him from actually being cut down. And it seems that I was right. Now I had another strange thought that maybe I should put foundation underneath the foundation to stop him from growing. Again, not a thing. But now I'm out of resources, so here we go, resource collecting again. and apparently discovering new locations. Man, I need to upgrade my diving gear fast. Even though the trader has these, it's always good to collect the solar panels for when you need them later. And finally, when I looted the whole place, I went back and continued to work on my base. Starting with the glass panels, which of course is a little bit overkill, but I think that it is chef's kiss later on. Can't forget those supports, which by the way, you can delete supports even after you build them and your building will stay afloat. Now the supports were done, it was time to put the rest of the roof. Again, this took me about 20 minutes to decide how to put the roof. And the third floor was complete. I wanted a more modernistic view, so I added more glass panes and ran out of glass, so I had to go resource hunting again. And once again, I decided to torture myself and chase a marlin for about 25 minutes. And can't forget about his friend, another 25 minutes.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
In a previous video, I decided to claim this island, and I placed a flag. And I realized that none of the components were actually respawning. So I went ahead and I destroyed that flag, and now look, all the components are magically here. Well, that's interesting. Can't forget to try on the new mini skirt. It was fabulous! Another flaw I had noticed is when you have a foundation next to a wall, the wall that you place on the foundation doesn't really want to work. Yet another idea down the drain due to game mechanics. So I had to destroy all those walls to build my actual walls. I wanted to try something with half panes because I really wanted to see out my window, but then I realized, well, there's going to be a defensive wall. Why do I need to see out my window in the first place? And of course I didn't like that, so no. And the door completes the base. Now we can enter, and it works perfectly. And yet another scrapped idea. Didn't like the half panes, so I went with the full panes instead. And of course, we had to set up the rest of our garden. Day 18 had come to a close, time for day 19. I woke up and I thought, you know what, this needs a wall torch, which don't exist. So I decided to put a fridge in my kitchen instead. Those pesky crabs. Another thought appeared. Why don't we make this entire place glass? And then I decided to unlock the defensive traps we would need later on. Been recording for 2.5 hours. This is gonna be a fun video to edit. I was right. The tree farm was working perfectly. I was getting a little bit of wood, and with that wood, I was able to put more planter boxes. Again, I so wish I had a packing box. Placing planter boxes against glass is no joke. I decided against the glass, and that was the end of day 19. Day 20, I woke up, beat my wood, took a nice long look out the window, and decided, you know what, I don't need this wall or this window. Screw it all. Time for some resource hunting. Back to the depths we go. And shortly after, back to the base. One wall, and you know what, this needs a window. and of course add some supports and complete the second floor. I probably stared at this wall for 10 minutes before I decided that, you know what, I gotta go underwater and go resource hunting again. But of course I had to go visit the neighbors. They had some wood I was really hoping to get. And what's visiting the neighbors without a little diving underwater and resource collecting again? Oh. Did I just get bit by a shark? Yep.
Nice.
Gotta watch for those shark-infested waters. But I had finally made it back to the base, and time to keep building. I started off with completing the walls on the second floor. After I finished making the floors on the third floor, I thought, you know what, this needs a garden. But again, impossible to line up the planter boxes on the walls. And that was the end of day 20. Day 21, I started by beating my meat and replanting all the trees, and finishing the corner on the tree farm. It was finally time to do something about this storage. After spending 10 minutes to place the barrels, I decided to go outside, complete the walls on the outside, and add more foundation to the tree farm. And you know what? My OCD was really bothering me. This had to go. Why are there no double wide staircases? That needs to be a thing. I then went to take another look and see my progress. After realizing I had no metal for my metal stairs, I went to get some. But of course, stairs are being weird today. I could not place the stair on the bottom floor, and I couldn't get up to the second floor, and I was dying. But then finally, after dancing around the whole house, it somehow worked. And that was day 21. Day 22 was spent with completing the deck outside and getting started on the sniper tower. After 10 minutes of trying to place a wall, I realized I didn't have any metal left. So, back to resource collecting. And we were back. I decided to expand the walls on the first floor and add some light. Wow, that's so much better. And now that we have artificial light, I decided, you know what? We need some natural light in here. So I added some windows. And it was on to work on the sniper tower, which I decided to change my mind about 6 times. I discovered ladders are really weird in this game. You have to have the floor with a hole in it in order to actually put the ladder on. And of course I almost died of fall damage. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? And that was day 22. Day 23, I started by going scavenging. And when I had got enough, I decided to go continue on the sniper tower. Trying to climb down ladders is insanely difficult. You either fall to your death or you wait until it actually catches and you press control. There's no in between. I continued to add the rest of the supports so that I could continue building the top. Maybe later. I didn't want it to block my view of the enemies. That might defeat the purpose of a sniper tower. I did have an idea to maybe build a bridge later, but I decided against it. And that was day 23. Day 24, I decided to go to the Eastmost Ranch, which I haven't been to yet. What an incredible place to gather resources. I spent the remainder of the day filling the rest of the planter boxes, cutting down the trees, getting all the wood, and replanting my trees. And then I did a little bit of inventory organization. And that was day 24. Day 25, I decided to clean up the yard and do some more organization. While placing one of the planter boxes, my OCD decided to get to me, and I wasted more resources. Something about this looks odd, so I decided to fix it. But did I fix it? I don't think so. So I had an idea. Time to get rid of all the walls and discover the packing box. Wow. After that amazing discovery, I decided to complete the 3rd floor. And of course run out of resources. Huh, this looks important. I'm telling you, Eastmost Ranch is probably one of the best resource collection areas in the early game. After that, it was time to visit the trader. 10 coins? Not bad. Now I'm trying to figure out how she prices her items. 10 wood, 10 scrap, 1 coin each. Pretty good. I decided to load up on scrap and wood because honestly, it's so much easier buying the resource than it is collecting it. And of course I'm dying for hunger and don't have any food, so I had to waste some money and buy a food can from her. But I made it up by collecting all of the resources on the trading outpost. You definitely can't sleep on the trading outpost. Amazing amount of resource collection. And that was that. Time to go back home. 2 a.m. What a long day. That was end of day 25. In the morning of day 26, I spent putting up glass panes and walls for the 3rd floor. Once again, thank God you can delete those supports because those would be an eyesore. I had an idea for a roof, but none of my ideas really worked because none of the items are included. I was really looking for something like a slanted roof so that I can make an extra layer roof. I decided to build my own. Which didn't work. So, back to the drawing board. No matter how hard I tried, I cannot find anything that actually worked for a roof. So I went with something simple. But not completely simple. These small triangles proved useful. I thought this garden needed a nice overhang, but they don't exist. So I put a light up and that was that. I took a look at my creation, took a quick rest, and went back to completing the tree farm. Oh, my OCD, man, my OCD. Luckily, I had finally found out about the packing boxes. What a load of crap. And she was done, and she looked beautiful. But I realized I don't have any seeds. Maybe the neighbors would have some seeds? They did not. They did have a lot of resources, however. Does this bush give us... Nope, it does not. Well, we haven't been here before. Maybe they'll have some seeds. Super friendly, as usual. And my stupid ass bled to death. So a nice quick swim back, and my revenge. Which, just, no. Oh. Luckily, I chose to spawn right next to the island. Finally, sweet, sweet revenge. The last guy got scared and left. What a day. That was end of day 27. Oh, this is so stupid. I'm finished the challenge. I finished my base, but essentially I need 4 seeds so that it looks like this, because that's when I'll finish. So I'm trying to find these seeds. And try to find those seeds I did. I went and visited the neighbors again. I scavenged, and still no seeds. Alright, I give up. And there we have it. There is the base. Next time I can turn on raids and we can finally fight the locals. Our island is open for business and I welcome people coming in. I mean, of course I want to get some walls. I want to fortify the whole structure, but that is our base. I still have 4 more seeds that I need to plant there that I'll find in the next episode. But yeah, a lot of resource collecting. It was about 6 hours of resource collecting. It probably took me about an hour just to come up with the idea. And then when I did come up with the idea, I finally started building onto it, and then that didn't work. So this is the final product, and that is going to be the watchtower. For when we finally do have raids, I could just snipe them from above, which will be awesome. But yeah, thank you for staying tuned in. I know it was probably a long episode. I'm not sure with my edit. But yeah, that was a building episode. The next episode will probably be, we're going to go possibly fight Pirate Hideout, maybe Green Isle. Yeah, we're just going to go do some combat because building is fun and all, but sometimes you got to take a break from building. And I'm hungry again. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.